Students of intellectual conveyance, how are you today? As I'm sure you've noticed by now, my decision's clear. I've become the Illuminati. Now, some of you might be shedding a tear with emotion, but you must understand that I've been taught to be better than that. And so I thought, what would be a better way to show my devotion to Illuminati and its knowledge of flat earth birds aren't real with a video that's based purely on education about plants. Now, we've been learning about plants, but I feel like the Mr. Dugatti in class has been a little bit too, shall we say, old Mr. Dugatti. So let's just get one thing straight right now. The old Mr. Dugatti is dead. And as the Fruity Pebbles box burns with all of its delicious goodness, I want you to know and understand that Mr. Dugatti is dead and only Illuminati remains. So let's talk about plants. So as we've been discussing in class in a fun, engaging way, this video will be none of these things, but I will ask you questions at the end, so you must remain to the end, much like the Illuminati has taught me. The best learning comes at the end. Plants have major structures, and they each do a different thing, and it can vary from plant to plant. But we'll take a plant that we all know about, a tree. It could be any tree. Let's in this case do an apple tree. The whole point of a plant is to grow and reproduce and keep the life cycle going. Now, you might be thinking, Mr. Dugatti, what part of the plant is the most important? Well, much like the Illuminati, all truths that the Illuminati work with need to work together to keep the Illuminati strong. The same thing goes for the plants. Let's start at the bottom. The bottom of the plant that keeps it in the ground is called what? Yes, roots. And the roots keep it grounded. That helps keep it strong. And it can keep it, in the ground even when rain comes, when wind comes. And not only does it keep it strong, but it gathers the water and nutrients from the soil to help nourish the plant, much like knowledge, true knowledge, nourishes Illuminati. Now, moving up from the roots, you have the stem. Now, the stem provides an important job for the plant. It takes the nutrients from the roots and carries those throughout the entire body of the plant. Now, when we did our plant dissection, you could see that the plant inside, it had a stem, it had tissue in there that was able to convey all of the nutrients to the rest of the plant. But not only that, it keeps the plant straight and strong. And if you remember noticing from what we learned in class, the stem will grow towards the sunlight so it can help the plant grow and do that process that helps it get all the nutrients. Remember what's that process called? Photosynthesis. Yes, students of intellectual conveyance. My brethren, you are amazing me. I will make Illuminati out of you yet. Now, we also have the leaves. The leaves help with that process of photosynthesis. They're the ones who actually make the food and do that. Now, this is all well and good. The plant is alive, but the plant needs to do something. Otherwise, it's meaningless. Its life is pointless. Now, what it does is it blossoms into a flower. Now, this flower can do numerous things, but we'll talk about both main things that it can do. The first flower type that we can get is a flower that will blossom into a fruit. And remember what needs to happen for that to happen. Most times it needs to be pollinated, and then once that blossom falls off, a fruit can start to grow. And once that fruit grows or is eaten, those seeds are dispersed, remember, spread out. And once those seeds land in the ground, there's a chance for that plant to start all over again, much like the Illuminati spreads its knowledge through people and converts such as myself. thank you for showing me the truth in that, Illuminati. Now, the next thing that can happen for plants is something called, not something called what? What am I talking about? Illuminati, you need to still work on me. Instead of blossoming into a fruit, what will happen is the flower part will die, and in the middle of that will be something called a seed pod. So we all know those dandelions, those yellow weeds. Now, they don't have a fruit. What they do is when their flower dies, it leaves behind all those seeds. And in the dandelion's case, the wind blows those away. And then they can go and begin that life cycle all over again. Now, we've talked about different ways that plants can spread their seeds out, and some are spread by animals eating them, some drop to the ground, some use the wind, and some can get stuck on animals. It's amazing how God created all these things, even the Illuminati. Now, I have one final test for you. Your job is to become Illuminati yourself. Because as you can see, the old Mr. Degatti is no more. And only the Illuminati and my journey to find Muffin and true knowledge will continue. And much like my Fruity Pebbles, would anybody like a bowl of plain, regular Cheerios?